Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be having a Tropics update. We'll be focusing on Tropical Depression Fred, and we also have potential Tropical Cyclone 7. We'll be talking about those, but let's first check out the Spc Outlook. I want to check out uh, today's severe weather risk really quick here. So we do have a couple slight risks out there. You got one in the High Plains area, more specifically southeastern Wyoming and northeastern Colorado. The main threat with that will be large hail, and there might be a chance for an isolated tornado and maybe some damaging winds out there. And then we got a couple slight risks further out to the east. You got one from southwestern Pennsylvania, stretching down to parts of Kentucky, and then you got another one really from parts of southern Pennsylvania down into central Virginia as well. So again, the tornado risk is going to be more focused on the high plains. We're not expecting any tornadoes for the east. However, damage winds will be there for the east. That'll be the main threat. And there might be some hail across parts of the Laurel Ohio Valley, given the fact there is going to be a lot of instability to work with. However, the limiting factor will be wind shear, but we'll see a couple of storm clusters out there today. If you do get within those storm clusters, um, you'll have a better shot of seeing damage winds, maybe some small hail as well. And there's also going to be very frequent lightning. I just got one heck of a lightning show last night, which I may show you guys a timeline set on this YouTube channel very soon. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch out there, which this does include parts of Virginia, Maryland, and southeastern Pennsylvania. It includes places like Roanoke, Richmond, Fredericksburg, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Harrisburg, Pottstown, Allentown, and also Haggardstown. So really the main threats: isolated hail up to quarter size, scattered wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour is possible, and there's also going to be some frequent lightning possible. So we definitely need to watch for that. And they just issued a mid-scale discussion here for the Laurel Ohio Valley. Thunderstorms will increase in coverage through the afternoon, and a watch may be needed in the incoming hours. I guess that X right there means that could be an MCV right there. A mega convective vortex. If that's going to be the case, yeah, there could be a decent severe weather event across these places in here. So if anybody that lives across parts of Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia, in these areas here in this blue circle, uh, be prepared for a severe thunderstorm watch possibly in the next few hours. I think that may happen. We'll just see how storm mode goes, because right now there is a lot of instability and the malls are underdone with the Cape, and that's not good. There's probably going to be more instability out there than forecasted, again, from the weather models. Alright, so that's severe weather out of the way. So let's focus on the tropics. So we got two areas to watch. We got Tropical Depression Fred, and when it got through Dominican Republic and Haiti, I mean, it shred this thing apart. Almost literally. The convection, it was gone on this system. However, the global circulation is still there, and it has its convection back within the system. Right now, it's skimming kind of along the northeast coast of Cuba with 35-mile-per-hour winds, so it's a high-end tropical depression. But we do expect this to intensify into a tropical storm, maybe as soon as tomorrow. And we do have tropical storm warnings for Key West of Florida. And let's check out the cone of uncertainty here really quick. Okay, so let's check out this cone here. So this is our current forecast, and then again, maybe as soon as tomorrow when it becomes a tropical storm. And there's your tropical storm warnings here. You have tropical storm watches across parts of southwestern Florida as well. But don't focus too much on the center of the cone here. Don't focus too much of that, because with the cone uncertainty, it could be on the far left side, so it may go way out here, or maybe it could go on the far eastern side. Maybe it takes a track that way. So don't always focus too much on the center of the cone here. Keep in mind of that. But you can see here they do expect us to make landfall as a tropical storm, which I think it's going to be a good call. I will release a forecast on this very soon here with the impacts. I haven't done one of those in a while, so I may release that maybe as early as tonight or maybe tomorrow. Because this thing is something to watch here. It actually may make it up to as far north as parts of the Lower Ohio Valley, which some of those areas will be experiencing severe weather later today. which that might be up there as early as Wednesday. But we do think about landfall, which this timing may change. Um, Monday morning is when we predict that this thing here may make landfall. So we're not too far away. We're currently Friday, and it might make landfall sometime on Monday. It'll make it to the Florida Keys by tomorrow morning, at least tomorrow. So still need to watch the system here. But what's also very concerning here is how warm the eastern Gulf of Mexico is right now. We're talking about above average temperatures. We're talking about sea surface temperatures really anywhere from 29 to 32 degrees Celsius. That's extremely warm. That's like upper 80s to low 90s in Fahrenheit with temperatures. Um, there's a lot of ocean heat content. However, there is one uncertainty, and that's wind shear. Um, if we do get some wind shear in here, this thing here will probably be a little bit of a weaker system. But if we do not have that much wind shear as forecasted, this may become a rapidly intensifying system, which I don't like to say that. But this is a kind of a similar path that Hurricane Michael took. But the difference between Hurricane Michael and this system would be that there will be some wind shear involved, so it won't get terribly strong or anything. I think it may get maybe as high as a high-end tropical storm, maybe a low-end Category 1 hurricane. We'll see what happens here. But we'll check out the GFS model in a moment here for that wind shear. Here's the potential rainfall forecast. Miami, the southern part of Florida, may get a lot of rain over the next several days. 6 to 10 inches of rain across parts of the Miami area and really some of the surrounding areas as well. That's a lot of rain that could cause some flash flooding problems. And we got to watch for parts of Tallahassee and parts of the Florida Panhandle up into parts of Georgia, which those areas may experience a lot of rain as well. Not only that, there could also be a tornado threat very soon, which the SPC does have a margin risk across parts of central Florida with this system here for that low-end tornado threat as well. I don't think there's anything else really to look into here, so let's check out some of the model guidance here. So here's your infrared satellite imagery, and you can see here Fred is somewhere right in here. Here's Key West, Florida, over here, or the southern tip of Florida. And there's a lot of convection around the system, so now it doesn't have that much of an issue with convection really anymore. There's not going to be a whole lot of dry air involved, so there is going to be a lot of rain with the system. But there is going to be some wind shear to work with, and that's what's going to be the limiting factor on the system is wind shear. Where does the hurricane models take this thing? Well, you can see here, pretty good agreement here. Somewhere maybe in the west central or western part of the Florida Panhandle is where it's looking to be making landfall. The center low pressure may go somewhere in eastern Alabama, eventually to central Tennessee, and probably some point maybe up into parts of central Kentucky by day 5. But things could change. We're still far out, um, at least for these areas further up north. So the tracks could change. It's still a little bit widespread here with the models here. But at least models do have a good agreement here. However, if it does take a farther western track like these two models show, that could lead to a stronger system. But the good news is, most models are agreeing on a little bit a further eastward track, which it gives us less time over the eastern Gulf of Mexico there, which is some good news there. The intensity guidance from models, and they're not impressed with this system, with Fred. Um, most models do bring into a tropical storm, which I think that's to be expected. You only got a couple models in a mid-tropical storm, but I think there might be that opportunity where it may get up to a higher in tropical storm, maybe possibly as low as a Category 1 hurricane, if it doesn't have too much problems with wind shear, which the wind shear, again, is going to be a limiting factor with the system. Otherwise, the models are not that impressed with this system currently, but these models have not been doing too well so far this hurricane season. I mean, the hurricane models do really good with the tracks. I trust it a lot. It has been very accurate with the tracks, but the intensity guidance wise, it's the complete opposite. It's been pretty bad on those models. They've been really bad last year with the intensity guidance, but they have done pretty well with the tracks with this system, which I give quite a bit of credit to those hurricane models. So we'll check out potential tropical cyclone 7 very quick here. So let's back this up. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. So we'll back this up real quick. We'll check out the GFS model. Don't worry. For wind shear and dry air issues here. Well, there's not going to be much dry air. But here's potential tropical cyclone 7. They got an 80% chance for the next 48 hours and 5 days. I do expect this to become a tropical system. There's not much in the way of dry air or wind shear, so this thing has got a green light for intensification currently. And here's a cone of absurdity. And talking about a very similar track of where Fred is going right now. And I'm not going to say it's going to take the exact same track, but it is pretty similar though. It will have that same issue where it may go for the mountains here and may die out just like Fred did here. But we'll have to watch the system. I think it's going to be a stronger system before it gets to Haiti and Dominican Republic, so it may come at a little bit stronger than what Fred, or it may completely kill this thing. Who knows what's going to happen? But we're still decently far out. I mean, it's expected to come into Puerto Rico about 8 o'clock on Sunday, which these times will change, and probably goes to Dominican Republic by 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday. So really, Monday, there's going to be some high uncertainty with this system here. Although, given the cone of uncertainty, it can just miss to the north, or it can just miss to the south. We'll see what happens with potential tropical cyclone 7 here. But let's check out the hurricane models with this. Here's the infrared satellite imagery, and there is quite a bit of convection on the western side. So I think this thing is getting ready to get a little bit better organized. It may actually become a tropical storm very soon. Here's the tracks, and yeah, lots of uncertainty on the tracks here. We have a group of models that are pretty far north. You got 4 models that takes it a little further north. You also got maybe 6 or 7 miles further south, taking it for Dominican Republic and Haiti. We're going to see where the models do trend, but right now I think we're going to take it as the severed track for right now. But things could change. If it does go further north, that's not good news because that's going to be missing on that land, and it can intensify into something a little bit bigger than just a tropical storm. But right now I think we're going to buy more into it, the further severed track here with these hurricane models. But we'll see what happens over the next couple updates. If it starts to trend north, that's not good. However, the GFS did take this further north, but has trended further south, and it's also weaker. I've seen someone show that on Twitter earlier that the GFS has been trending further south, and it's been trending a little bit on the weaker side. So we'll see what happens here with the hurricane models over the next several updates here. But here's the intensity guidance here, and you do see here I believe a couple of those models that's further north does bring it up to a higher end storm. Category 1 and Category 2 hurricane. Only one model brings it to a major hurricane, which is pretty unlikely at this point. Becoming a Category 3 hurricane or even a Category 2 hurricane is also very unlikely. But Category 1 is a pretty low chance, but it's more than likely going to be a tropical storm, which that's where most of the models have it right now. At least a low end tropical storm. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a mid tropical storm on this system here, but time will tell with that. Here's the GFS ensembles. It actually does take it a little further north than what some of those other hurricane models show, but then again, but I do have more trust in the hurricane models right now, given their accuracy. But even the GFS ensembles don't show this really becoming much of anything at all. Only maybe 1 or 2 members show this maybe as a tropical system. You only got 1 member that takes this into a hurricane, but that's again pretty unlikely at this point. So let's check out the GFS model here. So you'll eventually, so Fred is right about here. Potential Cyclone 7, it's just off the screen, but it's like right here, and you'll see it coming on the screen wherever I start to play this. So really brighter the colors, so really green, yellows, and orange, that's where we have higher wind shear. But where there's like the lighter blues and just the white colors, that's like little to no wind shear, which that's favorable for tropical systems. Tropical systems do not like wind shear. Wind shear can shred storms apart, but it kind of depends on the strength. Here's potential tropical cyclone 7. There is a little bit of wind shear on the north side, but if it does stay on the further south side, it may not have too much of an issue. But at least the northern side of the system may have some problems. We'll see what happens there. But here's tropical depression Fred. In similar situation, the northern and western side has some wind shear, so a lot of its convection around this system here. It's also got a further eastward track. A lot of that convection may be a lot further east. You may have convection that might be way over here, several hundred miles away from the main circulation. So the circulation itself may say mostly dry, but generally the eastern side will have a lot of convection, and that can lead to a lot of rain and a lot of flooding problems, and maybe even for some isolated tornadoes as well. And you can see here with, excuse me, with tropical depression Fred, it's somewhere right in here. And you can see here the wind shear is a little bit weaker. And if it can get a little bit more organized, it could intensify before it makes landfall. We're not completely sure about that just yet. But then it kind of makes landfall at that point, and it probably just shears out when it gets onto land. Then if we go back for potential tropical cyclone 7, so here is your system right here. You're going to see this take a little bit of a further southern track. But watch what happens when it gets to Dominican Republic and Haiti. So this is in the early morning hours on Monday. Here's potential tropical cyclone 7. It's affecting Puerto Rico at this point. And as soon as it gets into Dominican Republic and Haiti, your system's now way down here. And at this point, pretty much gone at that point. At least when we look on here, though. Let's check out the precipitable water numbers here. So here's Fred. This will be much easier to track here. So here's potential tropical cyclone 7 right here. Got a pretty large moisture field. Same way for the tropical depression Fred. It's also got a big moisture field. And you can see here, like I said with that wind shear, it's really going to misplace a lot of that moisture convection further out to the east side. You can see on the western side, even for parts of the southern side, it's actually mostly dry. But really for the northern and probably the eastern side, that's where most of your stormy weather is going to be with this system, with some of that wind shear. You can see that it makes landfall and it kind of dies out. Here's potential tropical cyclone 7 here. There's its remains here, affecting Dominican Republic and Haiti. And at that point, it's pretty much gone. Some of its remains still is there. But I think this is likely going to change. So from the Gfs model, it's been all over the place with these systems. But it's still something to watch here. So I think the main focus for right now is probably going to be tropical depression Fred, where it actually does a threat to the United States. Potential tropical cyclone 7. It may have a threat to the United States. It may not. We'll see what happens over the next few days here. And we'll see what the hurricane models will show with some of these systems. But if anybody that lives in Florida or in parts of Alabama and Georgia, be ready for some pretty stormy weather later this week, because tropical depression Fred will be coming to your guys' way, and that could bring in a decent amount of rain for you guys. And there might be that isolated chance for some tornadoes as well. It kind of depends on how strong the system will be. But I think the main threat will be heavy rainfall and the potential for some flash flooding. But anyways, guys, that's all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you already like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, leave the comment section down below. I answer you guys questions. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.